What's going on, everybody? I got a very special Ranger Talk video here for y'all today. I'm going to be talking with Matthew from the mighty and majestic, awesome power metal band Fellowship. What's going on, man? Thanks so much for joining me.
No worries. It's great to be here. Those were a lot of really nice adjectives. I'm very glad to hear them. Thank you.
Well, I could have kept on going, but I'm trying to keep the video, at a reasonable length. So,
Sure.
I mean, you guys are awesome, honestly. Ever since you kind of debuted on the scene, it was just kind of like, wow, these guys have such a unique sound, so.
I mean, thank you very much. It's kind of it's still kind of strange being told we have a unique sound in like power metal, because obviously power metal, like we're doing power metal, we love the genre,
Yeah.
but like it's very it has its tropes, it has its things that it does.
Yeah.
And we're doing all of those things. We're just like changing a little bit here and there. But it's nice that that's coming across, and that people think that we're fresh and we're doing something a bit sort of new and different, or I don't know, however people see it. It's really nice that we've had the support that we have.
Yeah, well, I guess you show that little things can go a long way, so it's really neat. But let's go back in time just a short bit, and if you wouldn't mind telling me kind of how you guys formed up, how you decided to come together and create
Yeah,
this fellowship, if you will.
sure. That's the name.
Oh, hey.
So hey, I wasn't in the band when it started. It started with Cal, who's our drummer and one of our primary songwriters, and Sam, who's our other primary songwriter and the lead guitarist. They met at a gig and just sort of decided, like, let's form a sort of super group of the best musicians in the little town where they lived. They got some kick-ass musicians. It's kind of unreal how good the musicianship was in this like little area of the country.
Right. Wow.
And they just grabbed like they sort of chose the best ones, decided we're doing power metal. They spent like a year and a half looking for a vocalist and writing songs in the background. So when I joined the band, Sam found me on a musician finding app, which was a very weird experience. But he found me there, and when I joined the band, it meant that a lot of the material had already been written, or like had been sort of started and was in like a demo mode. So yeah, from there it was just create vocal demos, write more songs to go along with the things that we'd we wrote the first songs together, and then we changed old ones. We wrote new songs entirely to make sure that the sound was really cohesive and sort of developed over time. And yeah, after that it was just logistics, getting onto a label, getting the album out, that kind of jazz.
Yeah, super cool. When you first heard the demos or all that, what was your initial thoughts when you heard the sound?
I'll be honest. I was when I first heard the demos, they were, it was all MIDI, so you have no idea how good a band is going to sound when you're like, from a writing perspective. You have no idea how good a band is going to sound when they're in the studio. You just have the MIDIs. Like, you don't know if people can play. You don't know like what the MIDI sounds are going to translate. What's going to stay as MIDI and what's going to be re-recorded. So I was on a hiatus with my other band at that point, and I heard the demos, and I was like, this will be a laugh for 2 weeks or something. I'll do this. This will be fine. And then obviously, like, the first time I met them was when we went to the studio for the first time to record Glint and the other two songs from the EP.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously on that day things sort of changed, because we all left the studio feeling like, oh Lord, we we made something cool.
Wow.
That's good, which was great. And yeah, so it just sort of worked out.
Wow. Are you guys ever going to release the MIDI recordings?
No. No, not a chance.
That's gone.
Gone
Into
the
somewhere.
depths of the pit. I mean, in fairness, Cal and Sam's MIDIs are much more clean than mine. If the like basic version of my songs ever gets out, they'll be like, "Wow, this guy knows nothing about chords. What's that? What's happening?" Sam has to clean my stuff a lot.
Awesome. That's so funny. So when you guys kind of went in the studio and were doing these things, did you have any plans at that time of, oh, what are we going to do with this band, or is it just kind of like, yeah, we're here in the moment, we're just doing it?
Little bit of column A, little bit of column B. I think there's a lot of tradition in power metal. So given that we started with this idea of being a power metal band, and sort of taking the melodic side of the genre to, you know, as far as we wanted or could take it and try and do something new and fresh with it, all of that jazz. There's something really attractive about the idea of like an album and doing like a really concrete first release. And while increasingly the music industry is going in this direction of, you know, just single after single after single, sort of moving away from albums and EPs, which to be honest is probably a better marketing strategy. In fact, is almost certainly a better marketing strategy. You know, I think we all wanted to make something that was a bit more of a cohesive musical and thematic bundle. And for us, that just worked out as an album. It allows me to do lots of like thematic stuff lyrically that can sort of evolve over the album. It allows us to do more of a piece of art rather than just like a collection of bangers. And while we want the album to be like a collection of bangers, because it kind of is, like there are very few bands say this, there are very few songs that don't feel like they could have been a single. We talked about basically every song, I think, except Avalon, which is the 9-minute track at the end of the album, as being like a potential at some point. So yeah, it just sort of worked out that the album format was good for us, and yeah, that was our approach really. We never really thought too hard about the marketing side of things, because when we did the cover to begin, and then we just sort of exploded, and then we did the EP, and people were like immediately very supportive and very they just started telling everyone, and it just sort of got out of control. And at that point we couldn't really change our marketing plan. We were just like, all right, let's just do this and make sure it's good.
Yeah, this is who we are now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Take it or leave it, like.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so fun. Well, you know, not only with your sound, but I think also with the music videos and your approach to that, I think really captured people, like with Glint and whatnot, just the vibrant colors and just the really cheery nature of you guys. You know, it really just comes through in that. I think that really caught a lot of people's attention. How did you approach, you know, kind of like the music videos and stuff like that?
Yeah, so with Glint, I mean, I'm in marketing now as my main job, but I used to be a professional filmmaker for like four years ish.
Wow.
And at the time I was the head of a video team, so I had a fair bit of experience doing that kind of thing. So with Glint, I was just like, let's do everything ourselves instead of paying $6,000 or however much money for some, you know, group to come in and film us doing something really fancy. I was like, let's just do what we can on the budget we have, which was like, I think we spent like 800 quid on Glint or something. We just found a farmer who would let us use part of his woods, and we bought tons of smoke bombs, and then we spent the entire day with like everyone's family helping us, holding smoke bombs with holding the fan, putting the smoke bomb through the fan, trying to dissipate the smoke, me trying to sing through coughing, Sam trying to play guitar while he couldn't see a thing.
Eyes watering.
Yeah, exactly. It was wild. It was not a day I'd repeat. Like that, we really made it hard on ourselves because we did the whole thing in 5 hours as well.
Wow.
Yeah, like we're very efficient. Like when we need to get something done, it gets done. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was good. And then with Until the Fires Die, we didn't have time. We were on it because we'd just signed with Scarlet at the time. We were on kind of a deadline because it was a very late signing for when we wanted to release the album. We really wanted to release the album soon. We'd been sitting on it for about a year. Like it was pretty much done. Yeah, it was pretty much done for I think 8 or 9 months before we could actually release it because we had logistical issues. just nightmare stuff. Like
Yeah.
it was horrendous trying to get this stuff out. Just like the whole world was against us at times.
Yeah.
So we just all we wanted was to get the album out as quick as possible. And then we found out we needed a video in like 3 weeks to meet
Oof.
Scarlett's marketing deadline. So we were like, oh no, we're just gonna get someone to do this for us.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did that. We went over to Wales to film it, and we all got really cold.
Got really what?
Cold. It was
Oh,
the
really?
wind was insane the whole day. We were surrounded by sheep as well. I was kind of disappointed that more of the sheep didn't make it into the music video, but
Yeah.
if you look closely in the back, you can see there are like 50 sheep
I'll have
just
to
like
look, I'll have
milling
to look
around.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys should have been intermingled like with the sheep just all running around.
There was this one shot that I wanted to do, but we had to cut the day early, where I wanted to have like a sort of rhythmic cut on like da, 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 da. And then towards the end of the chorus it goes, live your life with a battle cry. On Battle Cry, I really wanted it to have 3 crash zooms of one of like me or Cal or Sam, one of Brad, and then one of just a sheep, and then it just cuts to something else and just like no context given. There's just like a sheep in the middle of it. But alas, we couldn't, it was too cold. We had to like call the day early and run away. We couldn't find a sheep that was willing to pose.
They're all camera shy.
Yeah.
They were they were asking for a little too much money. They were.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're divas, honestly.
Yeah. They were part of the Actors Guild and all. They were repped. You had to go through a bunch of hoops.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's wild. You would never know that it was absolutely freezing out there. You guys did a good job. Oh, he cloaked. Oh, he's back.
Oh, sorry. No, I needed a drink.
No, I'm just messing around. It's just you were there and then you were gone.
Yeah.
Actually, that was not speaking of that. I don't know why it made me think of it, but your costumes. How did you guys come up with the costumes?
Yeah, we just like half of what we wear is bought from Wish.
What's Wish?
Wish is this really cheap like app where you buy something and it's fine, but it takes like 8 months to arrive, and it costs like £1 or something. So I think, initially that was how things were. We've upgraded the costumes a lot since then, and I think the costume when we started the band, Sam especially was really intent on us looking like a band and not just being like in t-shirts and stuff.
Yeah,
we wanted to have like a theme and really embody the music that we played.
not a grunge band, just jeans and a plaid shirt.
Exactly. Yeah, we as a power metal band, if we're doing these happy-go-lucky songs, we're doing these big spirited lyrics or whatever, we can't wear like a band t-shirt and jeans. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. I don't think people would have been swept along as much.
No.
So since then, we've just been slowly upgrading the costumes. And we're getting there. We're getting to the point where I think most of us are sort of happy with our costumes. Cal has the like armor piece that he built. He made that, and it's falling apart. Like during the music video, we were fixing it with like reeds and grass that we found on the ground to try and hold the shoulder pauldrons on.
Wow.
Because he was drumming for like 3-4 hours. And he was just falling apart at the seams. And then I've got my little dragon arm thing and the cloak. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sam looks like a sort of guitar assassin. That's great. And Brad is just eternally happy with his gorgeous purple cloak. And it all comes together. It's nice, it makes us feel happy at least.
That's good. Do you guys ever just like kind of run around in glee just with your costumes on because you're so happy?
Not when the cameras are on, for sure.
No, because I feel like if I threw on like a big purple cloak, I would just have to like gallop around.
Yeah, a lot of it's uncomfortable. Like a lot of it's really uncomfortable. Like the dragon arm, it's great for music videos, but I'm never wearing that on stage. I actually can't bend my arm more than like this at any time.
Right.
So I wouldn't be able to like sing properly with like a microphone. I'd be like stuck out here. It's really bad.
You need like a stick, like almost like a selfie stick with the microphone that you just hold it here.
Yeah, it'd be different. It would be different.
Well, it seems like you guys have just lots and lots of fun out there, and it comes through in the music and the music videos. I mean, maybe y'all are faking it, but at least it's being portrayed like you guys are having a blast. And I think that helps the listener get into it even more, because it's contagious. That's really, I think, what you guys are. The music and just your personas are just very infectious.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to me that we embody the spirit of what we play when our music is so upfront about what it is, in that it's about like fun and camaraderie and friendship, and in a lot of ways mental health. When it's about these things, we have to live that. We can't, it would be so disingenuous, it would be so fake for us to not have fun and not believe these things, not go about ourselves, treating each other with respect, treating our fans with respect, and just sort of living the themes of our music. I personally, I can't really speak for the others, but I personally feel like we have to embody that. Otherwise, it just won't. People are smart enough to notice that. They'll notice if we're not sort of living that anymore.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have the image, that is for sure. And now at the base, the root of the band, like the music itself, how, what's kind of like the songwriting process? How do you guys really come up with these songs? Do you kind of have like a set, you kind of have the initial layers and then you sprinkle the fun magic on top of that, or is it more built around the fun stuff?
So the only thing that's really built around is that every song is built around melody. We have 3 different writers at the moment within the band, and probably 4 eventually. But we all have a slightly different approach to writing. But the thing that really defines us as a band is that every song is written around a very catchy, very sort of blunt melody. And that's kind of the heart of what we do. The magic and the twinkly bits and the sort of MIDI harps and stuff, that's all. I don't know why I did marimba for harps,
Yes.
but whatever. I think there is a marimba in one of them. I can't remember.
Well, if there isn't, then there's
maybe.
got to be now. You got to do it.
Yeah, great. We've got to
put some
marimba in. Why not?
Video, while the harp is going, you should
just
be there with maracas.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so we kind of write in silos, in that one of us brings a song to the band, and that song is usually pretty much complete. Okay. Cal or Sam will have a full track with music and a melody. At that point, I will, they'll give that to me and be like, once we've passed it through the band and everyone's gone like, yeah, we like this. This is on album 2 or whatever it is. They'll pass that to me. I'll write lyrics. I'll probably change some of the melodies. I don't really mess with the choruses a lot, because the chorus is the heart of the song, and that's kind of why these songs have been written. But I mess with the verses a lot, just because things, words have to scan, stuff like that. And then after that, once we've got a vocal demo, I'll send that back to the guys. They'll rip it to shreds. We'll redo it a couple times, and eventually we'll get something that we're all super happy with. We'll go to the studio whenever we can book time, and we'll just do the whole thing in a day. And that's typically our process. Okay,
yeah, really cool. Have you guys been able to really kind of play any of your music live to a live audience yet? Or?
So it's been really hard for us, obviously, because we were a COVID band in a lot of ways. We started before COVID, and then COVID hit, and yada yada yada. Everyone's bored of hearing about this. So we've played 2 shows so far, and they were both really, really fun. We have very high expectations for ourselves, so we want to make sure that these shows are all learning processes, and that we have like the best possible live show going forwards. So while we're having fun at the moment, we really want to sort of build stuff in, like be that I'm looking at stage antics and stuff. I don't know if Cal and the others will go along with them, but I can dream. I want to make sure that our songs are the best possible representation of what we do. So we're sort of working on this in the background. We're looking to tour later this year, hopefully, and do a proper UK tour. But it's been really, really hard to get stuff, and the UK scene isn't very good at the best of times, unfortunately. Yeah, like if you're touring the UK and you're a medium to small band, uh, you're doing pub gigs, you're doing small
Okay.
gigs, and it doesn't necessarily fit our style of music too well. Obviously, there's like festival season in the UK,
Yeah.
which is in a couple of months. Because we signed to Scarlet relatively late, that might be difficult for us. But we'll, if there are festivals out there that want us, we've got one booked in at least. I don't think we can announce it yet, alas. But if there are festivals that want us, great, say hi. But yeah, I mean, it used to be that British bands would go and tour Europe if they wanted to do sort of
Gotcha.
slightly big. If they were like, if you're a small band, you can do a UK tour and you'll be fine. If you're a medium band and you want to sort of do something a little bit bigger, if you're expecting to play slightly bigger venues,
Yeah.
then the UK is kind of rubbish for that in a lot of ways. It's not impossible, and we're going to do our best,
Yeah.
but it's a little bit rough. So you used to go to Europe, but now with Brexit, that's way more expensive, and it's not quite as viable.
Wow.
So
That
it's
didn't even
just a
cross
bit
my
of a
mind.
pain, really, because we really want to play more shows. We really want to get in front of people, and like we very much wrote a lot of these songs around the live experience.
Yeah.
Glint, especially, like all of these chantable songs, these things
Yeah.
that you want to sing along, not just because of the words and the feel, but like, just because it's got that sort of happy vibe. You want to feel, it's all. I don't want to say it's like church like, but the style of music makes you want to like be with other people who are enjoying that kind of music. You want to feel like part of a fellowship.
Oh, he dropped it.
Way. But yeah, like we sort of wrote it with that in mind. So we really, really want to get out there. We're just looking for the right venues and the right times.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because in the music videos and just the music, it's just right for live. Like you just listen to it and you just want to be there with you guys, like dressed up and running around and just having a ball. So hopefully, maybe with the signing and all that stuff will help get you guys.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've just spent so long waiting for the opportunity, and now we're finally out there. We're going to have an album out soon, which means that we can play enough of the set that we can fill like an hour or whatever. Whereas previously, it's not like you can't play songs that people don't know, but it's a totally different experience. And when our show is so about the sing-along, it's so about the inclusion and that feeling that it's so much better when people know the songs. So now we're pretty much ready. We just got to actually go out and do it. Obviously, we're very busy until the album releases, but after that, we're like full steam ahead.
Yeah, which is super exciting that you guys kind of announced it so close to release, which makes sense now that you said, because you got signed. So everything just kind of got really fast forward. But I was going to ask you, with regard, do you write the lyrics predominantly?
Yeah. All of the lyrics are me. The others have. I was just going to say, like, the others, weirdly enough, have never changed a lyric. The only request I've had from the others was to use the word destiny more often and to change the pronunciation of the word wield at one point, because the first time I did it, it was weird. That's pretty much it. It's in the Hours of Wintertime, and the first time I sang it, it was just a bit like hard. It was like wield. it was really strange. So we had to work on that for a bit. But other than that, I've had like free reign, which is something that I find very, I love having the opportunity to like do what I want thematically and go to the extent of my imagination rather than having to like please as many people as possible.
Right. With the album being called the Saberlight Chronicles, right? Is this a concept album? Is it one story, or is it separate tales?
In a lot of ways, we're a concept band, in that with the album, we'll release a novel. This novel will be free on our website. Wow. Every album liner notes has a little link. You can go there, but it'll be free for everyone who wants it digitally. We'll also probably sell hard copies on our website if people want them.
That's awesome.
Stay tuned for new website and new like shop and new merch and stuff. That's all coming.
Awesome.
But we have this novel. It's like 200 pages, so I think it's technically a novella. But it's
200 pages though. Wow, that's a good amount of material. Something like that.
Yeah, no, it's decent. Like so many bands have like quote lore, and there's like they say there's like stuff behind the music, but I wanted to take that to like a proper, there is law, there is a book,
Like
there are
it
several books,
physically.
physically you can hold it, the
Yeah.
law. Um,
You can let it
uh,
collect dust on the bookshelf. So when you take it down, you have to, blow it off and it just
exactly,
looks all fancy. Yeah.
exactly. Hopefully it won't collect too much dust and you'll actually read
Not
it.
too much.
But, yeah, so the concept behind the band is basically that the quote fellowship are a band of roving travelers cursed to tell stories until the end of time. So each album will then be a different story that we tell.
Oh,
So this first album is the Saberlight Chronicles. That's one of the stories that we tell. Not to be super cliche right now, but come with me. There's more than magic in the stories that I tell. It's essentially narrative. It's
okay.
narration, and it was really important for us that the music stand alone and hasn't. You don't need the book to enjoy the music ever,
Yeah.
ever, never, ever, ever. But it was just something that I wrote that embellishes it, and every chapter lines up with a different song on the album. So it's all sort of, it's a full narrative arc. It's got a lot going for it, and some of the songs will change meaning if you read the book. And I love it when songs. I love it when stuff does that. When you can write something and people think it's one way, and then if they read into it, if they go behind it, they're like, oh, wow, that happy song was actually really sad. Wow.
It's like, now
There's a
I'm
couple of those.
impressed.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, no, that's awesome. So how did you come up with that? What did you have any inspirations or influences on coming up with these tales?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm obviously being an ex like filmmaker. I'm big into movies, and I'm really, really big into. I just so many of them are so bad, but I love 80s fantasy movies. Like late 70s for me is like the golden era of cinema.
Really?
Yeah, so 1976 through like 1979 is like mwah, mwah, some of the best movies ever. Chef's Kiss.
Yeah.
Um, but Princess Bride I think was slightly later than that, but that's
Yeah.
just one of my all-time
The
favorites, such an
classic. Yeah.
inspiration for everything. Lord of the Rings is obviously a big one for the band. We're not a Lord of the Rings band, but you can't make this music and not be in some way influenced by Tolkien.
Right.
um I love all the sort of Mercedes Lackey, Aragon. What am I reading at the moment? I used to be reading The Wheel of Time. I'm reading Magician by Robert Feist. Just all of this sort of like fantasy literature, all of this stuff coalesces and
Okay.
forms some kind of influence. But beyond that, the sort of biggest influence for me is just the way of the world at the moment, where I'm a very I tend to write about things that people are going through at the moment. Like you say, like Chronicles is very much about mental health, like as a book and as an album. That's just the sort of like direct underlying theme of the whole thing.
Okay.
It's very allegorical, but that's just COVID has done people in with mental health. Like we've been sat in our rooms not being able to talk to people for 2 years, so
Yeah.
it makes sense to write about that at the moment. And by the time we do the next album, it'll make sense to write about something else, and that will form just as much of an inspiration as any of the books or movies that I take inspiration from.
Awesome. And how about the music with the band and the music itself? Any
Twilight
inspirations?
Force, Sabaton, Majestica,
Yeah.
Rhapsody of Fire,
Okay.
Stradivarius, all the good stuff.
Okay.
All the like classic power metal influences, plus, and then on top of that, we've just added like a little bit of pop sensibility, sort of like ABBA style stuff, 80s ballads, 80s rock ballads, that sort of heart, how do I get you alone, that kind of, but that kind of feel of music that's in there as well. And then I have a musical theater and opera background, vocally, and I think
Wow.
people have said there's like they can hear like a little bit of musical theater in some of the delivery of the vocals, and I think that's I'd be lying if I said that wasn't in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Really cool. Lots of influences that are quite apparent in the music for sure.
Cool.
And it's interesting you say with the theater background and all that stuff, because the songs themselves almost kind of seem like a production. Like if you close your eyes, you could almost see this happening like on a stage somewhere, as a play.
Oh, that
One
would
day,
be a
eh?
dream
Right?
come true.
Fellowship on Broadway.
It would be really tough trying to find a singer. who could do that on stage. As
You'd
in,
have to
like,
do it yourself, man.
musical
You got to-
theater. I used to be in musical theater, and the songs usually stop at like A sharp four, A sharp five, so the very beginning of the fifth octave. And asking tenors, or at least the tenors that I used to sing with, to go any higher than that, they were like, "Oh, no, I don't want to do that." So it'll be a fun experience trying to do that. Maybe I just have to do it myself, but that'd be great. That'd be great fun. I'd love
Yeah,
that.
that'd be awesome. I really liked when I saw the track list for the Saberlight Chronicles that you included the songs from the previous EP, like Hearts Upon the Hill and Glint. Um, did you decide to do that, or was that Scarlet Records, or what was your decision to include those?
So when we started the process of changing the EP, or like going into an album from the EP, we kind of Glint is such a personal song to all of us that it didn't feel right to release our first album without Glint specifically. And then as that album developed, it was from those three songs where there was, little thematic links between them. There were little ideas that could sort of cross over. And a sort of development between them. In the Hearts Upon the Hill felt kind of like a counterpoint to Glint in a lot of ways. And then, sorry, not Hearts Upon the Hill, The Hours of Wintertime felt like a counterpoint to Glint in a lot of ways. And then Hearts Upon the Hill was sort of halfway between the two, and it just began developing into a narrative. And because it began with those songs, and that's where the novel came from, that's where the lore came from, we couldn't not include those songs. They were the starting point for what would become the sort of story of the album. And even if we ignored the lore and took the book out, I think if we removed those songs from the album as it is, it would lose a lot of its emotional arc. And I think while the album is it's very long, like it's just over an hour, and it is a long album. And but we wanted to give people an album's worth of new songs, and then just also include the EP songs. That was really the sort of idea.
So cool. So I mean, not long now, July 15th, right? The Saberlight Chronicles drops.
Yeah, we're so excited. We've been waiting to release these songs for so long. We're just pumped.
So, I know we already briefly kind of talked about what's next, but is there anything really else other than just kind of waiting for this to drop, get that feedback, from everybody finally on all these songs you've been sitting on, trying to tour, stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all there is for now. We've not fully started writing like album 2 yet, but I know that Cal and Sam both have songs cooking in the background that will probably become album 2 at some point. We just we want to finish the release cycle, get the album out, and then we can focus on what we want to do next. But yeah, I mean for now we're just so excited to get people listening to the music. We're preparing for our second music video, which is another sort of do-it-yourself, me doing the primary sort of film work for that. So it's going to be very colorful. It's going to be very fun. Until the Fires Die was great, but there was, we're in it's in a field. There's only so much you can do in a field anyway, and we wanted to really convey the sort of fun with the next one. So we're going to have a huge amount of fun with the next one, which I almost just said the name of, which I'm not allowed to do. So I'll stop there.
Okay, well, I think we're all looking forward to that. Just another fun time. But thank you so much, man, for taking the time to chat with me. I really, really appreciate it. And congratulations to you and the boys on the signing and the new album, the Saberlight Chronicles, dropping very, very soon, July 15th. Not soon enough, I guess, but soon.
Soon.
Wow, good times. Anywho, that's what I got for y'all folks today. I'm going to put in the description down below everything that is Fellowship, links to the social media, links to the music videos that are out there already. And stay tuned, I guess, for a bunch of new merch, a novel, just lots and lots of fun stuff. Crazy. And Saberlight Chronicles drops July 15th. But like I said, all that stuff in the description below. Check it out. One final time, thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. Great chatting with you. And
yeah, it's been great fun, and thanks very much.
Of course, my pleasure, 100%. And that's it, folks. So I'll catch you all next time. Thanks for tuning in. Ranger, out.